Stacy here. Just want to say I've had the best first live show in my entire life. Of course, I'll never have another first live show again. And we did have some mishaps and some shadows and some mic problems, but that's okay. It was my very first live show, and I'll never have another very first live show. I enjoyed all the people that came out. We had such a great time. So today what I'm going to talk to y'all about is all nurses cry, or at least they should. From the decision to become a nurse, to actually going to nursing school, to graduating, taking your test, being a nurse in training, to actually then being a nurse who takes over patients, someone or some situation is going to make you want to cry. And my advice is go ahead and cry. One night I was working. Now it's very, very important. I worked in the emergency room, and it doesn't matter if you work on the floor in the hospital. If you work in a hospital, it doesn't matter if you're on the floor or if you are in the emergency room. It's very important to look at your patients that you're taking over from the previous nurse. You can get busy, really busy, and in that 30 minutes that you can have, that you two can run in together, or you run in and say, hey, I am going to be your nurse. I see you have your call light. Before they leave, because you don't want to walk into something and have a question or find the patient, of all things, dead or on the floor or irate, and not be able to speak with the nurse ahead that had them all, previously. So one night I come into the emergency room, and I had the wall, which has four rooms. The last room, an ambulance was coming. Now I go through the chart really quick, while they're talking, the nurse is talking to me just to see if there's any questions on the chart, and we're talking flash fast. You get in there, they talk in your ear, and you get in that computer and you start looking, you make sure, that you see that they have an IV, it's been charted, so that you can ask appropriate questions. And then while they're maybe finishing up something, or doing what the intention is, both of you walk into the room together. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm going to be your nurse, and so-and-so is leaving, da-da-da. Not really a lot of time is given for that. In the real world, it just can't happen how it works out on paper. So my strategy for that was to, as soon as I find out my assignments, I would look at my patients. I would get in the computer right quick and look at those charts right quick to see if there's any questions I have for the nurse. Let the nurse talk. Ask any questions I have, and then if she can come with me, great. If he or she, if they can't, just hit those rooms. So I had this ambulance coming into the last room on the wall. So I hit the first one. I said, hey, my name's Stacy. I'm going to be your nurse. And of course they want you to have your dry erase boards lined up. So I'm erasing at the same time, putting my name up. I'm Stacy. I'm going to be your nurse. I'm pretty sure this might be your doc. I'm not sure, but I see that you have your call light. I do have an ambulance coming. I just wanted you to know it's shift change, and hopefully everything is going to happen for you a lot quicker than it has than when you got here. Is there anything you need right now? Generally speaking, the way I present it, most people are kind of going, huh? What's it? Yeah, I got my call light. No, I don't need anything. Well, one night, that I'm describing, that this was happening, I saw out of the second room that I was going to go into, somebody come slamming, stomping out, a family member. So when I went in there, I was not surprised that my patient was crying. So I said, hi, my name's Stacy. I'm going to be your nurse. I see that you're going to be admitted, and I'm so sorry that you're crying. Here's a box of Kleenex. And I patted her, and I gave her some place so she can emesis basin for her dirty tissues, and I said, look, God collects tears, and I'm pretty sure he makes rainbows out of them, so go ahead and cry. And all them tears you've been sucking up all your life, maybe on the playground when someone was mean to you, or maybe your boss was mean and you couldn't cry, all those tears have been rolling around. Let those out too. And I just patting her, and then I said, I'll be back. I got an ambulance. And so I go to see the next little beautiful little old lady, and she thought I was the sweetest thing, because I am, to my patients anyway. And then I go and I take care of the ambulance that came in. Well, later that night, I have 12 children. 4 of them I'll meet when I get there. 8 are turning my hair gray. See how lovely they're doing. Anyway, they're all adult children, and my son lives in Louisiana, and on his way home from work that night, he took a picture, and it was a double rainbow, and he posted it on Facebook, and I was like, see, that lady cried all those tears, and God took all those tears and he made a double rainbow out of them. So since that time, I knew God collects tears and he makes rainbows out of them, so I just give people permission to cry. So I hand out a lot of tissues, a lot of boxes. There's people that may be getting a they're just crying because they just, like to cry. And I'll just say, go ahead and cry. Here's a box of tissues. God collects tears. Some cry because they've just had devastating medical news. The biggest, most important thing is you only have that moment that you're living in. We don't have tomorrow. We don't have yesterday. We just have right now. So right now, what can I do? So what I could do for most of my patients was to talk their ear off, let me do most of the talking, and let them get a word in edgewise, at least to tell me, yes, I need a blanket, or yes, I need a pillow, and try to do a rapport, no matter what type of a person it was, whether they were there 50 times, whether this first time I'm seeing them. And it comes in handy, because I can remember that, as that brand new nurse needing to cry, and because, your coworkers are not around when you need them, or you're just overwhelmed with the fact that you're responsible for all this stuff that that's life and death, and or then your first patient dies, or that type of thing. So it's just so freeing to let people say, yes, go ahead and cry. God collects tears. He makes rainbows out of them. And then now I see so many more rainbows now, and it's a lot easier too. If someone says, how you doing? I say, well, I'm making rainbows. Then they can go, okay. They may want to know why I'm making rainbows, but at least they understand already. Okay, she's upset. Maybe I don't want to ask her for money or something of that nature, if it's that type of a thing. But all I want to say is it's very important, all you young nurses out there, and old nurses too, it's important to make a rapport with your patients. And I'll tell you, as I sit down and I do an IV, because I have time to talk to them some more, I would tell them these things. And one night it came in so handy. I had this doctor. He was such a he was not an emergency room doctor. He was some kind of OR doctor, and was just a jerk. And all the things that were happening with this patient, anything, it just, a lot of times you get frustrated and you cry. Well, I get frustrated and I cry. And one of the other nurses says, well, I'll push the patient to the OR so that I didn't have to be anywhere near this particular doctor who helped me make rainbows. And because the patient in another room, when I was putting her IV, I had told her about making rainbows, and her ride was here, and she'd been getting put off about having to get discharged because I had to get this other one to the OR. So I just took a second to run in there with her papers, and the first thing I did was go into the cabinet and get the tissues out, and I'm just boo-hooing. I said, it's a good thing that God collects tears and he makes rainbows, because right now I got to be behind this closed door, and I know you need to go, so I'm bringing your papers, and I'm going to make some rainbows while you sign. If you have any questions, and she's patting me on the back saying, it's okay, you can cry. So it comes in handy to make your patients part of your team to help you through your 12, 13 hours of stress as a nurse, no matter whether you're working on the floor or whether working in the emergency room. But don't let tears bottle up inside of you, because they'll just make you ugly from the inside out. And just go ahead and cry, let them out, and make some rainbows. Y'all have a good night.